The people joining me on the platform are Evangeline Petcaw. I'm Rick McCorkindale, by the way, I work here. Vern Waldy, Sylvia McCorkindale, no relation. And in the other stool that's behind Vern is Karen Cates, but she's hiding because she's sick. These three, including Karen, make up the leadership team of a new refugee support team that Cornerstone has that you don't know anything about. And they're going to explain why in a second. But Evangeline Petcaw has been involved previously in terms of bringing peace, speaking into people's lives as they have come into Cornerstone and into Canada as refugees. This is something that we have done a number of times. And Evangeline now has a part-time position at Mennonite Central Committee as, and I have to get it right because it sounds really good, Mennonite Central Committee's Migration and Resettlement Associate. And you're loving it, aren't you? Like, it's challenging, I know, but it's also really kind of exciting. So what I want to do is, and we'll do this with other agencies during the Advent season, peace is a huge, huge thing in our world, and it's missing, right? Joy, love, hope are kind of the things, some of the themes that we've traditionally touched. And we're going to try and put them together with some of the things that we're doing as a congregation, that God is doing in our world, and talk about it, and then give Len today the opportunity to try and weave that together, and he'll do a beautiful job, I know, because I was here first service, of bringing us to the point of looking at what peace means from a scriptural perspective. But Evangeline, you've been doing this for a while, and we're doing refugee sponsorship locally, but can you tell us a little bit about where things are at in the world of refugees and what kind of a situation the family we're bringing in is coming out of?
Sure can. I find it a privilege to be working with MCC in what is a really big title, but to make it a little bit more understandable, it's refugee assistance work that we're doing. And we work together with churches and with community groups that are praying about, asking questions about whether they want to become involved in refugee sponsorship. So currently, this year, we're working with 41 sponsor groups, which is a jump from the usual 3 or 4 that we've been working with a year since then. So it is very exciting work, just working together with the churches and sponsor groups, meeting the refugee families at the airport, just being a resource and support. So I'd like to share just a few statistics with you that, to me, show how important it is for us to open our hearts to others. So currently, there are over 65 million people worldwide that have been forcibly displaced from their homes. So this represents 1 in every 113 people in the world that have needed to leave their homes because of conflict or persecution. Some are displaced in their home country. Others have left their home country in search of safety elsewhere. There are 21.3...
Sorry. And I'm distracted because I'm counting for the 113th one of you, right? You heard that statistic and you went, 113, right? One of you in 113, somewhere over here. Rudy, it might be you. So the next time you're in a crowd, 113th person in our world could be a refugee. Sorry.
Perfect. So many people are displaced either in their home country, or 21.3 million people have left their home country. They are refugees. And over half of these are under the age of 18, so many, many children. These numbers don't include immigrants, people that choose to come to Canada or another country to find employment or to study. A refugee's story is much, much different. A refugee is someone who has been forced to flee his or her country because of persecution, war, or violence. A refugee has a well-founded fear of persecution for a variety of reasons, such as race, religion, or nationality. Most likely, they cannot return home, or they are very afraid to do so.
They are hoping to find a safe place for their family to call home. They are looking for peace.
Thank you. Vern, you've been here before in terms of refugee sponsorship. Can you tell us, and you're in again, which is either a good sign or a sign that you're a glutton for punishment, but I don't think that's it. Can you share just a little bit about the blessings that you've had as you've worked with resettlement and helping refugees come to Canada?
Well, we've been involved with several refugee families over the years. First time we were involved, it was with Safani Boonlam and her family. And because her children were much the same age as ours, and they lived in our neighborhood, we got together with them a lot, and they became friends. A few years later, we hired Safani in our business, sewing drapes. And then after we wanted to sell it, we sold it to her, and now Gladys works for her. More recently, we've been involved with the Baba family. They're here in the first service. This is a family that's been a particular blessing to us because they are all Christians. And that makes the connection with them even much better. But over the years, we've brought more and more of their family over. And most recently, we brought Animu's brother over, who is now helping Animu in his business. It's really a pleasure to see these people come over and become part of our society, become part of our church, and it's just great to have them around.
Thank you, Vern. Sylvia, why are you doing this? How did Cornerstone get involved this time around? And why is it catching so many of us by surprise that we actually have a refugee sponsorship committee?
Well, some of you may have heard last spring Evangeline brought a need for the immediate placement of a Burundi family. And she asked if we would, us and a few other congregations, if we would be willing to step in and sponsor that family. And it was too quick. We weren't ready. We just couldn't do it. But some of us were saying, well, yes, like this number, 113 million or 1 in 113, it's so big, but if we could help one, this would be a good thing, we think. And so later, apparently we weren't the only congregation to say that. Faith River, down on the south end of the city, a small congregation, was also interested but didn't feel they had the capacity to sponsor a refugee family on their own. So Evangeline approached us and asked, would we be willing to work together with another congregation to sponsor a family? And so a bunch of us, Len and Walter and Luella Bergen and myself, met together with a group from Faith River Church. And together we discerned that, yes, we thought it would be good for the greater kingdom of God for churches to work together on this. And so we were excited. And we were slowly getting organized as part of the group from Cornerstone. I didn't feel like I could lead this alone, and I prayed, and Karen Cates said, yeah, she prayed too. She said that, yes, she would come alongside, and we could work together. And then we asked Vern to join us as well because of his rich experience, because neither one of us have ever done this before. I teach English at Saskatoon Open Door Society to refugees and immigrants, but I have never been involved in the settlement of them. But why is it taking people by surprise? Because suddenly I got voicemail and text message from Dana, who is Evangeline's boss, saying, we have someone that we think is right for your group. Could you be ready in 3 to 6 weeks? And so we prayed and listened, and we thought, yes, this sounds like a good fit for us. It wasn't quite what we expected. It's a larger group than we expected, but it resonated with all of us. And so we said yes. And that's why we're coming to you today.
Why did it resonate?
Why did it resonate? Well, there are a number of Spanish speakers in our group. I do believe you speak some Spanish, right, Vern? No, little? A little? And from the Faith River group, some of them have been missionaries in Mexico and speak some Spanish from that experience. And, just today, Cynthia and Cesar said, this resonated with them too. So that was part of it. Let me tell you about the family. Her name, the mother's name is Ana Kundumi Marquez. She is a woman at risk. She has experienced trauma, and the government has deemed that she is at high risk. And because of that, that's why the quick placement, but they are also ready to finance it for 2 years. One of the reasons we were moving slowly was a refugee project would require to wait till our annual meeting to have it designated as a special project for funding. But now funding is not an issue. The funding is there in place for 2 years. Our responsibility is to help them settle, to let them feel safe, to find a counselor for her because she's experienced some awful things, to help the kids get into school, education, employment eventually, language, all those things. So we didn't have the financial piece to worry about, but we have lots of other things to pray about and be ready for. The family, the mother and her 5 children. There's a boy who will be 15 in January, another son who is 10, and then 3 daughters who are 8, 6, and 3. She has also experienced the death of 2 other children. So her life has been difficult. And when I think of Christmas, I think, hands and feet of Jesus here. We have an opportunity. The bulletin has an insert with some of our needs. And some people after first service nudged me with other needs that I hadn't thought of, and they have the means to meet them. It's wonderful. You can stroke off double or queen size bed. That's being delivered to my garage this afternoon. Bunk beds, though. 5 children in probably a 3-bedroom suite of some sort. Housing that's in like the $1,200 range. Lots of things that we need in place. And that 3 to 6 week timeline is now 2 to 5 weeks. So it's getting more and more exciting all the time. Cornerstone has done this before. And that's one of the things actually that I found quite exciting about meeting this congregation for the first time a year and a half ago. Almost 2 years ago now. And as I was getting involved in this, I felt like Psalm 90, 16 and 17 could be our prayer. It goes like this: Let us, your servants, see you work again. Let our children see your glory, and may the Lord our God show us his approval and make our efforts successful. Yes, make our efforts successful. And Vern touched on how his family was blessed by befriending one of the refugee families that had kids their own age. And I feel like this is a testimony to our children, that our children see us reach out, and we can't solve all the world's problems, but we can help one family, and that's our opportunity now.